You know what you need to do. You just don't start. Your day is busy, but it doesn't feel productive. In the next few minutes, I'll show you 3 simple steps to fix that and actually get things done. Let's fix that. Are you still relying on your brain to remember everything? Think about it. When everything gets mixed together in your head, don't you feel even less like doing anything? That's the first problem we need to solve. Free your mind. The tool we'll use is TickTick. In TickTick, you can freely create lists to categorize different types of tasks. On mobile, just tap Add in the lower left corner of the sidebar to create a new list. Drag one list onto another to merge them into a folder. Once you've organized your lists with a clear structure, you'll have a clean system. Then, get the tasks out of your head and into the right lists. Bring order to them. Don't leave everything in your brain. When things stay in your head, they blur together. That creates invisible pressure and eventually triggers avoidance. But this doesn't mean you need to write down everything. If something takes less than 2 minutes, just do it. Throughout the day, new tasks will keep popping up. If you don't capture them, they'll clutter your mind again. So the key is quick capture. On desktop, you can use the global Quick Add shortcut to bring up the Quick Add window from anywhere. You can also set a custom shortcut to quickly add a sticky note. For example, during an online meeting, if someone mentions something you need to do, you can quickly open a sticky note and jot down the task and its context. You can resize it, move it anywhere on your screen, or even double-click the top to collapse it. New sticky notes are saved as tasks in your default list, usually the inbox. If you prefer a different default list, go to Settings, More, Task Default, Default List to change it. On mobile, you can long press the app icon to quickly add a task. Or add the Add Task widget to your home screen. So adding a task takes just a second. TickTick syncs across devices. No matter where you are, you can capture tasks the moment they appear. Sometimes unfinished work isn't about discipline. Maybe it's unclear what should come first. Among a pile of tasks, do you tend to handle the most urgent-looking or the easiest one first? That's the second problem we're solving. Choose what truly matters. TickTick offers 4 priority levels: high, medium, low, and none. Tap the flag icon in a task's detail page to set it. Once priorities are set, they appear in the 4 quadrants of the Eisenhower Matrix: important and urgent, important but not urgent, not important but urgent, not important and not urgent. The first quadrant is for tasks you must do immediately. They're important and urgent. The second quadrant is for planned work. Important but not urgent. You need to reserve time for these. The third and fourth quadrants are tasks to reduce or eliminate. That's the point of prioritizing. We often stay busy handling things that look urgent but aren't truly important. Optional meetings, small issues from others. At the end of the day, you feel busy, but the important work is untouched. No sense of effectiveness. If this sounds familiar, start by setting priorities. Let important become visible. That's the first step out of ineffective busyness. In TickTick, the 4 priority levels correspond directly to the 4 quadrants, as long as you don't change the quadrant rules. If you leave the default rules as they are, it's very simple and intuitive to use. But if you want to customize it, you absolutely can. Tap the 3 dots in the top right corner, then tap Edit. From there, you can adjust the display rules for each quadrant. For example, if there are certain lists you don't want to show, you can filter them out. Or if you have too many tasks and don't want to see tasks too far in the future, you can choose to display only tasks from the next 7 days. In the end, it's up to you. If priorities change, you can drag tasks between quadrants to adjust them. For example, a video planned for next week might need to be published this week. Drag it from important but not urgent to important and urgent. Priority updates instantly. Finally, to make the tasks inside each quadrant easier to browse, tap into a quadrant, then tap the three dots in the top right corner to adjust the group and sort option. For example, I group tasks by date and sort them by time. This further organizes the tasks inside the quadrant so I can quickly see what needs to be done today. At this point, you can simply work through your day by following the Eisenhower Matrix. Still hard to execute? Let's move to the final step. Planning is easy. Starting is hard, especially that moment when you decide to begin. When facing a difficult task, avoidance comes naturally. The solution is simple. Break it down. Turn a large task into something small enough to start immediately. Think about it. If you're not sure where to start or how to solve something, won't that task simply never begin? That's why when you come across a difficult or intimidating task, tap the three dots in the top right corner, then tap Add Subtask and break it down into smaller steps. When the steps are smaller, the resistance to starting becomes much lower. Or add a task first, then drag it under another task to turn it into a subtask. There's also a faster way to add subtasks. You can drag the plus button to the bottom right corner of another task to quickly turn it into a subtask. For example, if you need to organize a report, don't think about finishing the entire report. Just focus on completing Collect Materials. That alone is already a win. As you work, check off each completed step. Each checkmark gives you a small sense of progress, and that momentum helps you move on to the next subtask. Before you realize it, the progress bar has moved forward, and the task no longer feels so intimidating. TickTick supports multiple levels of subtasks, up to 5 levels deep. In other words, if breaking it down once isn't enough, you can continue breaking it down into even smaller wins. Of course, how far you break things down is entirely up to you. Finally, one more small method. If you still feel resistance when starting a task, try the 5-minute rule. The idea is simple. Tell yourself, I'll only do this for 5 minutes. That alone significantly lowers the barrier to getting started. You can use the built-in timer to help yourself enter a focused state. There are 2 timing modes, countdown or count up. Choose whichever you prefer. Tap Focus at the top, select the task you want to work on, then tap Start. Once you become immersed in the task, you often lose track of time, and continuing no longer feels so difficult. A task system isn't fixed. Review it regularly, once a week, or even at the end of each day. Look at your tasks. Notice what you keep delaying. Ask why. Is your list too long? Is your scheduling realistic? Keep refining your system as you execute. That's everything for today. In 2026, may you know exactly what needs to be done and finish them one by one. No delay, no backlog. If you found this helpful, consider leaving a like. And feel free to subscribe for more practical strategies. See you next time.